Memorial Day, it gets the weather's not nice next Saturday. And it's
Sounds like a fitness program. I mean, it makes sense, it's water and they're using oxygen. But still, it sounded like, am I misreading this?
It's not a fitness program.
Yes. Should I be worried?
Pilates and
certain things require.
It's kind of the first thing.
Thank you for agreeing to.
Yeah, I saw that.
How are you?
Oh, no. Ooh, that's the worst. Yeah.
Copper pipe in. I've been sitting all day. Sitting all day. At work. No, I mean.
when leaning. I'm joining up there, leaning on the wall.
Yeah, the old clay tiles.
Yeah.
Comfortable with the bugs.
We should run into there on that.
Stand up here next to Rick.
Guy never called in to zig. Yeah. Because we never do that. We don't want to get ahead of this.
You got a chair.
I'm 28th.
Oh, you the 28th?
Just learned that my 60th birthday, I'm supposed to be on a field trip. With a bunch of students in Italy.
No.
Yeah, I know what I have birthdays in Italy, but this is like a big one. I don't understand everything. I hope they remember. Yeah, I vote no. No. All right, gonna find someone else. Anyone want to?
Well, even if they're your own teenagers, you can spend it.
Yeah, no, I did, that was, I did have a birthday when one of my kids was on the trip. And that was fun, yeah, we were in Rome, it was nice. That wasn't a big one. So we did Italian classes. So, I mean, I've done it 4 times. Now there's a new guy. I would tell people that the welcome. I asked Tom today if he had, but I'm gonna say that.
Oh, yeah.
What's in there? Recommendation. You don't want to cook the ladder.
Oh, absolutely, right? Have you talked to, do you know, what's his name? Nicolenti and John? Do you know John? Yeah. They bought a place in the southern part of Italy, Naples.
My daughter's trying to working her way in.
Yeah.
They invited her, she's like, I'm going with my friend. I'm like, not without us.
So have fun.
We're gonna do Ireland this summer.
Oh, that'd be nice.
That's where half my family is.
Yeah.
So we were originally from County Longford, in the Midlands, but most of them now are the north side of Dublin. So Michael Barnum, Swords, are high there.
Yeah, I just saw that.
No, no, I
I'm
know.
actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the May 13th regular Board of Trustees meeting for the Village of Millbrook. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Witt.
Mayor Doro?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Murphy?
Here.
Trustee Luckland?
Here.
Trustee Lawson?
Here.
And Trustee Briggs?
Okay, we have a pretty chock-full agenda tonight with a lot of different things, so we'll try to move efficiently here. Did everyone get a chance to look at the minutes that Sarah sent around? Any corrections, amendments, issues there?
Look good to me.
Can I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The vouchers are going around as well. Any immediate questions on the vouchers? Can I have a motion to approve the vouchers?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have, the tree, is Dennis, I talked to Nicole, Dennis getting paid for the trees in these vouchers, she said they would be there, I sent them to.
I didn't look.
Okay, that's right, I'll look.
I'm sure if they sent a bill.
We
I
got an invoice.
No, I'll double check, yeah.
had one question on the shipping.
Yep.
That I talked to Eldar about. I don't know how it was resolved, if it was. It was like pretty big. It was like
Yeah,
$500
because they're
for the
coming
shipping.
from essentially all over the state of New York. Hillsdale's the closest. I got an answer, but I'm sorry, I'm a little vague on what the answer was, but I thought,
Just seemed like a lot to
I
me.
thought it was a reasonable answer.
Okay.
I talked to Dennis, at Arbor Day about that, and I did get an answer.
Thanks. Thank you. Okay.
It wasn't just a, an additional fee.
I'm sure there was. Yep.
There
Understood.
was a reasonable explanation.
Understood. Chief Boscardin, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Do that after.
There we go. Alright, nothing too crazy on the calls other than, like I said last month, we had a very busy spat of motor vehicle accidents. One reported structure fire was contained to the microwave. Nothing else too crazy. We're gonna have radio communication drills. We're gonna be splitting up and our newer members practicing on radios. We're gonna have an education drill. Last week we participated in a UTV training hosted by Unionville. And they had a property owner, Charles Vick, who allowed us to use his property on Chestnut Ridge area. We had some phenomenal training out there.
Nice.
Any questions on the numbers that you guys are seeing?
The CO again?
Carbon
Oh,
monoxide.
that's what I thought. Okay. The automatic fire alarms, are they, is that new for this month? We always
No.
have that.
We handle about 15 to 20 of those every month.
Just like the other night here, are they, for the most part, like false alarms?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was it like
Most
Cardinal
are.
Hayes in the school or something?
Cardinal Hayes kind of comes in waves, depends on if they have someone new cooking in there.
That's the microwave.
Yeah.
There was.
But
A lot of like homeowners. you
yeah,
know,
like most of
expensive
the
systems.
burnt food,
and things
once
like
in a
that.
while we'll get just a
Or a
glitch in the
false alarm.
system. Working in the building's another big one.
Kelly, I know you had mentioned that some places actually charge.
I don't know if it's locally, but
for that.
I think it's more up north that I've seen that happen. It's a
Can I chime in
multiple.
on that?
Please.
I noticed when I was with Unionville was Travis and Lover were going there all the time. It was like 4 or 5 times a day. We got to a point where the administration went to town and said, look, you guys follow your system. Either have the alarm company take care of it, or every time you come here, after so many per day, we're gonna start charging you whatever it's gonna be.
A lot of fuel.
Yeah.
We have
Back
to
and
respond,
forth,
they can't
maintenance.
call us and say, hey,
Yeah.
false alarm, we actually have to physically show
I'll
up.
tell you right now, the past 4 that I went on my fire alarms, the homeowner called the firehouse directly and said, do not come, there's no emergency. Well, we can't do that, because once the alarm comes in, we have to go out there, no matter whether it's BS or not, and verify it.
Yeah. I guess I would just ask you guys to just, maybe make a mental note of the high offenders, and maybe there's
We try
something
to
we
keep
can kind
track of that.
of talk about or look
You-
into going further.
Usually after about 3 of them in a week, we get on their case about, hey, you need to have a service technician come out and fix this, or we'll figure something else
Yeah.
out. So,
People are pretty responsive typically after that kind of a.
yeah, usually they get on it. Sometimes it between when we talk to them and the service tech gets there, we'll still have a few more, but we try to
Yeah.
eliminate that when we can.
Okay. Just keep us in the loop on that those type of things.
The mutually received for the Empress, that's higher than normal. We had a lot of second call in the districts. Nothing that could be avoided.
The 10 calls in one day.
Yes.
That's Friday afternoon.
Yeah, we had 10 calls in one day, which is possibly, other than storm related, a record for us.
Really?
And it was all within, it was like from.
EMS calls.
No,
Yeah.
it was
Fire,
fire, EMS accidents. We had, it was from like 3:30 in the afternoon until about 6.
And so Empress was where during those, they were responding to
They were
something else,
responding.
transporting, whatever?
So I was on the ambulance for one, we got the call, went out to Vassar, another call hit, 79 took it, they went out to Vassar, we're coming back from Vassar, have another ambulance call, we go to that, grab them, go back to Vassar, another ambulance call, 79 takes that back to Vassar. Auto accident with 2 patients, so we had to call other ambulances in, because ours were en route to the hospital with other people, and they had to transport those patients, so we had to start pulling from other towns, so you'll see mutual aid, because our ambulances were all running to the hospital at the same time.
Your ambulance meaning Millbrooks or EMS or
Both,
Empress?
I consider them both ours, but yeah, both or Empress and Millbrook, we were both responding to the hospital twice, back and forth, while other calls were happening, or other ambulances had to be pulled from other towns to cover it. And there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, those are like, seemingly those are pretty rare where they're just a lot.
It can vary month to month.
Yeah,
It does happen a lot where we get a call and then right after we get another one,
Yeah.
literally almost the same time.
yeah. Just on EMS, I did have a meeting with the town of Stamford supervisor, Empress, Gary Safari, the supervisor from Northeast, and Chris Drago from the Dutchess County Legislature, about looking at maybe combining different municipalities as opposed to having one truck in each of these places, which is basically what we're doing now, to having maybe 2 trucks in 3 towns, or going down to, 1 truck overnight or something like that. Basically combining with another town on a contract to save money. So Empress is, I think did you go to a meeting up in Red Hook?
I did not can bonus the rescue squad captain on.
So Empress is kind of running some numbers to see what might make sense, what areas make sense to combine in geographically as well. But it's something we could certainly keep looking at and save money, especially in slow times, and they have all the data behind
Yeah,
that.
I was at the meeting. And,
Right. Oh yeah, you were.
Yeah, they.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's about them. Just once we figure out what towns want to combine, and obviously geographically we've got to make it make sense. But and they can build with the call system out because they track what's the heavy part of the day, whatever. I thought Stanford wants to wants to combine with another town.
They have slower
Yeah.
call volume, you know, so.
Absolutely. So we're higher than they are, so that might make sense to go with them.
So you're actually gonna see the numbers come up when I do my presentation, so you'll see where.
I'm just gonna close my book next
There
time.
you go.
Okay, so more to come on that, but just FYI.
Yep.
Um,
If you want me to come, me or Kim to come in and
Okay.
meet with you, let us know.
yeah, I'll let you know when the next one is. I'm not sure when it's gonna be yet.
That's all I've got.
Else on that. Okay. Kelly?
It's been a pretty seamless transition. Thank you for coming to the annual dinner. It was nice to see you
Yeah,
there.
thank you for having us, by the way. Thank you for the fire department.
Change of pace, I mean, we had no choice at this point to have it at a different venue, but I think
Mm-hmm.
it went well. The only thing I have is thank you to Jeff Mosman. We now have a company chaplain, Rick Studler, who's right behind me, and he's been asked by the VFW to do the invocation benediction at Memorial Day. So it's quite an honor for him and for us, so we thank you for that. It's awesome. That's all I have.
You wanna move to your presentation at this point?
You have the power.
Okay. So I wanted to put together our little presentation just because obviously you see us when we go to calls, you see us at community day events and things like that, but I don't think the community or the board really knows what happens behind the scenes in our lives as a Millbrook firefighter or EMS, and I think it's good knowledge for everybody to have. So without further ado, we are 100% volunteer, and I know that sometimes people who are here from other towns or have second homes here don't always understand that Millbrook Fire Department is 100% volunteer. We are not paid, so there have been times where they, might say, well, it took me so long to get here, and they're not understanding that we're actually coming from our house or getting up in the middle of the night and throwing our clothes on. And so what we do every month is we respond to, obviously, emergency response, which you just saw the calls. There's fires, there's alarms, there's MVAs, and then there's public service calls. We can go to just lift assist. Somebody falls out of bed, can't get up, and they need somebody just to lift them up. So we cover a wide variety of types of calls. We also have to do mandated trainings and drills. We have to keep those skills up. It's the same if you don't use it, you lose it. So every month, every Tuesday, we're doing some kind of little mini drill. Every month, we're doing 2 bigger drills. Upcoming is extrication. It could be any topic. It could be pulling hose. It could be putting on gear. But we have to maintain our certification and our readiness in order to do what we do. Every Tuesday night, you'll see hustle and bustle at the firehouse. That's where we do our apparatus and maintenance checks. We have to go through every single piece of equipment on an engine every Tuesday. So every single piece of equipment gets touched. We have to do that to make sure that we don't show up and something's missing or broken or not working. So that's very time consuming and that takes a lot of time. On Tuesday night, we have department meetings where we're coordinating operations and planning and keeping communication with our members. We also do fire prevention and community outreach. You'll see firefighter Hayes, he goes to all the schools in October. We do the upcoming library volunteer fair, and I'm sure you see us all over for many community events that we participate in.
So the lift assist, there's a pretty common lift assist in the village.
There
Who
is.
usually responds to that?
It's EMS.
Yeah, it's in the EMS. Normally, if 79's around, they go and handle it. If they're out of the district, then the rescue squad goes and handles it, or fire department members.
Gotcha.
Sometimes fire department can, if it's just a simple lift you back up in a chair, we can do it without an ambulance and all the paperwork.
Yeah.
Depends on the scenario. So a volunteer commits about 30 to 50 hours a month as an active firefighter, all unpaid, all volunteer. And for all the officers that you see sitting here and some behind me, that usually doubles because we have we have to also keep up on all the same things that regular members do as far as training and certifications, but we also have to run the show. And that means meetings and paperwork and trainings and all the things that, meetings for EMS and that type of thing. And that also is entirely volunteer. So last year, we responded to 955 emergency calls. That's about 80 calls a month, 18 a week, and if you average it out, it's 2 to 3 calls every single day. Some days, we could go a day or two without anything, and then we could have 10 in one day. But roughly, we're going to 2 to 3 calls every single day.
What's the breakout of EMS versus fire?
trying to calculate it off the top of my
Ballpark.
head. It's about 60-40, maybe
Yeah, definitely more
65,
EMS.
35, more EMS.
Much more EMS, yeah. So this is where it gets important. This is our nearest mutual aid departments, so our surrounding departments. So we have Unionville, Dover, Westgate, Amenia, Stanford, and East Clinton. Those are surrounding. Pleasant Valley is a little bit bigger, bigger city, but if you look at the numbers, Millbrook, we handle more calls than all of our mutual aid departments. By a lot, by over 200. So you can see Stanford is at 388, so when we say sharing, you wanna make sure that if we're gonna share an ambulance, it's with one of those that are doing a lesser call volume.
I'm shocked by some of those numbers. No, but like Amenia, you would think would have close to a similar amount to.
And that's a
Millbrook.
combined fire EMS for all.
You also gotta remember our territory. We have the
Is
biggest,
it bigger too?
we have
That's
the biggest town in Dutchess County, 64 square miles, which you will see here in a minute.
Second biggest in the state.
Yeah. So,
Dirt Road.
like I said, we are well beyond, we are one of the highest call volumes in our neighboring department. We are running a lot of calls compared to everybody else. And here's one thing where sometimes when you see mutual aid, you might think, well, why is somebody else coming to answer our calls? Why are you not getting there? Why is the ambulance not getting out? Why is Amenia's ambulance or somebody else's ambulance coming here? It's not because we're not getting the ambulance out, it's because we are getting the ambulance out. And one EMS call takes an hour and a half is on the really good side. It's usually about 2 to 2.5 hours per call. So by the time that's dispatched, we leave our house, we get to the firehouse, we're in the ambulance, we're on scene handling the patient, then packaging them, getting them in the ambulance, taking them to the hospital. We have to switch over patient care, give our report, sign them in, sign them out, come back, clean the ambulance, do our reporting, and get back in service. You're looking at 2.5 hours per ambulance call. So that's a lot of time where in that 2.5 hours, we have multiple calls happen. Somebody else is going to have to come take our calls for us. That's just the way it goes for us and every other town. So when you see mutual aid, the assumption sometimes is we're not getting out, we are, and our ambulance is gone, which is why somebody's coming back in to help us out. So over the year, that's 1,400 to 2,300 hours a year that we are out, and it takes a lot of time. So you can see at the bottom, we cover 64 square miles. And not every member is available for those calls. So if you're looking at daytime calls, sometimes our ambulance cannot get out because we are 100% volunteer. We have to have day jobs. So we are at work. It's going to be hard to answer a call sometimes. So we do have to have that paid staff available. And then you have a smaller core number of groups. Most of the people you see sitting behind me, these are the core people that are showing up to every call. We may have a lot more members. Not everybody is available to make all of them. So what does it look like to be a volunteer? A lot of times we leave I've left my family at the diner. I left my husband by himself to get up and go to answer a call.
Then you suck it in to become a member.
And then I pulled them in, yes, because you can,
We left our families Christmas morning.
Christmas morning this year, as a matter of fact, we had to, most of us stop opening gifts and go to an auto accident. 2 in the morning, you're getting up, you're going out, and then you're having to function to go to work the next day. Which is not easy, especially if you're doing an ambulance call at 2 a.m. You're not getting back till 4, and you have to get up and go to work. And then you're training for hours. So there are weeks that, I think this week being one of them, that we were there almost every night of the week. So we're not seeing our families very much. So there's a lot we give up to do what we do. In order to be just a basic firefighter, which means that you do not go into burning buildings, you stay on the outside only, you're doing 80 to 100 hours of classes, physical and classroom classes. Interior, now you're adding 120 to 160 hours. And on top of just those classes, you now have to do OSHA and your animal safety classes. That's for everyone. On top of it every year, and that's another 8 to 16 hours annually. And then we have to do our monthly drills and ongoing training. And like I said, we do 2, sometimes more a month, big drills, and then usually every Tuesday night we're doing mini drills. So that's a lot of time just to step through the door. As an EMT, you're going to do 150 to 180 hours of class. Then you're clinical, which means you have to ride in the back of the ambulance and have hands-on time. And then you are required to do continuing education to keep your skills up. And that is every 3 years. You're doing 24 to 36 hours worth of classes to keep that. And then if you're doing both, I'm a firefighter and EMT, as some of the people behind me are, you're looking at 350 to 450 hours to be qualified. That's just a step through the door to be a volunteer. So, here's where it gets important. We're running 955 calls, more than every mutual aid department around us, and we're covering 64 square miles. We have the largest service area in eastern Dutchess County. And if you look, there's our mutual aid departments next to us, and the next largest is Stamford with 50 square miles, down to Pleasant Valley with 33.
What's Pleasant Valley's calls like? Are they more than Millbrook's?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
They're
figured
more than
because
us.
it's your population and size isn't really a
Mostly EMS.
Also, they have, daytime career staff,
gotcha.
so the unevenness there that having the
Wellington School
daytime.
District.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So, again, highest call volume, highest square miles, and most of us are doing it in our personal vehicles. And you know what gas costs right now. Because honestly, you get to the firehouse, you're taking out a truck, you might not make it, depending on where you live, and you have to drive to the call yourself. So then we look at the budget reality. So we know this year, between the total funding from the village and the town, we received $991,000. 600 of that is going to our contracted EMS, so Empress is getting 600,000. That leaves Millbrook Fire Department 391,000 for us to do all the operating that we need to do to stay up to date, to outfit our members, and make sure that we have the training, our apparatus is maintained, fuel, equipment, protective gear, firehouse maintenance, training and certifications, insurance, operational costs, and we're going to compare that to what other districts have. So being the highest call volume and the highest square miles covered, we are by far the lowest budget out of everyone in eastern Dutchess County. That's not easy to operate on. So that's why we fundraise, that's why we spend not only all the time that we just saw that we put in, we now have to add, we have not even added fundraising to that. We now have to devote all that time to fundraising so we can make sure that we have the money we have to do the things we need to do. We have gear that is outdated. We actually had to borrow gear from Unionville, and we went to classes with our firefighters wearing gear that said Unionville on it because it was so outdated, and we just don't have, 391,000 doesn't cover what we need to run properly. Now granted, some of these are districts, so the tax money goes to them directly, but it's still, whether the tax money goes to you and then comes to us or goes to a district directly, the funding is, you can still see where we are by far the lowest. Which concerns us because with the rising cost of EMS, we cannot afford to get any less money whatsoever.
Rising cost of apparatus nowadays.
Yes, apparatus,
Everything.
equipment, gear,
Yeah.
our growing membership.
I mean, you go back 5-10 years, apparatus, you could buy a decent engine pump, a pumper engine for about $600,000.
Now it's
Now they're over $1 million.
Yeah,
Look at the rest
everything.
look at the rescue truck that we just ordered
Mhm.
last year. That's over $1 million.
Totally.
So when comments were made like, oh, you guys have this much money, we fundraise and save every dime we can because we have to pay for a portion of that truck. Once we pay for that truck, that hits our budget, we're gonna have very little money left to operate after that, and we have to be careful, and, we have to make sure that, we're not in the line of work where we can skimp. Okay, this is our life. We go in, you may not come home. These people behind me have families, they go into that burning building with gear that's 20 years old and not NFPA rated anymore because we can't afford it anymore. We're going to a funeral.
My kid's 20 years old.
And that's just not okay. It's not okay to ask us to risk our lives and not have the equipment we need to come home to our families. We all have children, I'm a mom. I wanna go home. I want to do what I do for the community, but I wanna make sure I go home and I'm supported and I have the money to have the gear that I need. So, what if there were no volunteers? Here's the cost of limited paid staffing. So Pleasant Valley has 3 firefighters on staff. Three firefighters is not going to put out a fire, ever. You still need your volunteers. So if you have a large brush fire, you have a serious MVA with multiple patients and extrication or a structure fire, you could have 3 paid firefighters, you still need to have, how many people,
At least 6 other firefighters minimum show up.
to show up. So if you're gonna pay a firefighter, their salary is between $55,000 and $70,000 plus benefits, insurance, payroll taxes, retirement, which is another $25,000 to $35,000. So you're looking at $80,000 to $105,000 a year for paid staff. Add that times 3, that's your cost per year. And then you still need volunteers. So we're a necessity. Volunteers are a necessity. We save taxpayers a lot of money. So we just talked about the equipment and the apparatus and the cost. A lifespan of apparatus is about 20 years. our rescue is there, we're getting a new one. But our other ones are quickly approaching that. The lifespan of our gear is 10 years old, and we have people going and burning buildings with 20-year-old gear, because we have no other choice.
NFPA came out with a standard about 5 to 7 years ago that all firefighters have to have 2 sets of turnout gear. And the reason for that is, we go to a call today, our gear gets contaminated. Now we have to have it washed, decontaminated, we have to send it out to a company. So now, we just took that member out of service because they don't have any gear. And most of our members don't have 2 sets of gear.
How often do you buy new gear? Like, is it a set thing, like, every 10, like, it's set on that gear, or is it per need?
So every year I try to replace 6 sets a year. That's what I have in the budget. I just ordered 3 sets and waited to see a little closer to the budget if something else more catastrophic came up. But in the next week or so, I'm gonna have the guy come out and size up at least 2 other members. That's
Yeah,
all.
because no one should have 20-year-old.
Right.
So, I'm just thinking like,
We do.
for you,
A
on
lot
a
of
regular
us do.
basis,
Yeah, but
every year replacing a few.
Yes, every year we're
Yeah,
replacing,
yeah,
trying to get
consistent,
6
yeah.
sets. We tried, now, a lot of our members, their second set of gear is over that 10-year limit, and we try to keep them 1 set in date, 1 set out of date, just to be able to
Back
keep up, keeping everyone with 1 good set.
Like I said, you go to one call, you go in, you got, it's carcinogens, you have to have that gear out of service to clean, blood.
How long does that take?
It varies.
It varies depending on how busy the cleaning company is.
It could be anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. It could be longer.
If it gets red or something, it's gonna be about 6 weeks, because they have to sew it professionally with certain materials.
Bread.
And then we have a washer and dryer there set for gear too, but then it's out of service for a couple hours too at that point, and that's why as officers, we try to have at least 2 sets, so if somebody comes up, we're not standing there going, you can't do anything, so we can.
Yeah.
So,
So
again, none of this
you
is
don't
to-
have to have them sent out every time, you could wash them in the
So-
fire.
Yes.
Most of
Minor stuff.
most of the minor stuff we can do right here in the
Yeah.
firehouse, but we stuff that's,
We can't do hazmat and we can't do blood.
How often is that?
Those are the only 2 things.
How often does that happen every year?
well,
A couple times a year.
blood, we're gonna be exposed to it on auto accidents, if we get several auto accidents a year that are pretty horrific auto accidents, so that could be 3 or 4 times a year. Hazmat calls, it varies.
So, and again, this is not to complain, we never complain, we do what we do, we make it work, that's why we fundraise. But I just feel like this is a reality that needs to be seen, because I don't think, if we didn't bring it to everybody's attention, you probably would never have known, because we make it work. We do what we do to make it work. So our firehouse, now the apparatus is larger, more modern, it's tight. I always say my anxiety for the day comes from backing in 4911, because there's about 2 inch between the brick wall and the mirror, and that's my anxiety for the day when I have to back that in.
So the apparatus has gotten bigger over the years, that's obvious, all right? And the reason for that is departments figured out they can combine 2 apparatuses into 1 to make it more efficient, all right? So years ago, it was just an engine or a pumper. Now they're pumping tankers, bigger pump, bigger water. That takes up space,
Yeah.
And our firehouse isn't getting any bigger, it's actually smaller. We got, behind the tanker right now, so in the firehouse, you got about 1.5 foot of walking room from the back wall to the back tailboard, and you got about 2 feet in the far back.
And we could never get a ladder truck, this is not even a possibility, because there's no.
Our tallest building's like 35 feet, 40 feet.
Right.
So,
But here's the other thing, what Kelly said, the ladder truck, all right?
Yeah.
If we have a call that's gonna require a ladder truck, one of the officers that responds to that call, we're gonna call on the resources that we need. Whether we're calling in Dover with the ladder truck, Pleasant Valley, Amenia, or whoever. That's part of the whole mutual aid agreement.
So looking ahead, we had 50 new members in the last 2 years. We have increasing call volume, nearly 1,000 calls per year. More firefighters are joining, we need more protective gear and equipment. We have an aging infrastructure and apparatus, and rising costs for fire equipment, safety gear, EMS. So, we obviously, with that low budget, we're squeaking by. We need to make sure that we can afford EMS, but also not limit us, take away from what we do. And sometimes when we're asked to cover things that just aren't maybe in our,
Review.
or things that we shouldn't be covering financially, that takes a hit, it takes away from emergency response, takes away from money for gear, because we're covering things that, just isn't for us to cover. So we just want you to be mindful of that, I guess, when the ask is there, just be mindful that it's gonna take away, because we are so low in our budget from things that save lives every day. And then there's just us in action, there's some things that, our car fire in front of Stewart's a year ago. Fire safety, fire prevention at the schools, car fires where we're training. There is, there's our tools that we use. Just, these are the things that we're always doing. And, any Tuesday night that you'd like to come down to the firehouse, you can see the firehouse, we can show you around, see the apparatus, see us training. And just learn what we do. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You didn't have a picture of the famous Merritt Avenue car flip?
Roll over.
Yeah. But I will, if I could speak to that really quickly, now that you brought it up. One thing that we are trained here as far as social media is that we never post pictures at least 24 hours after the incident, because what happened was when they get posted immediately before the call's over, I think you may have gotten phone calls. I got phone calls. I had people at work come to me thinking they knew the car.
I'm taking pictures.
No, the woman I work with came to me frantic and she said, "Oh my God, that's my son's car, and I can't get hold of him." I called the police department. I called the firehouse. Nobody, I need to know. And we had several phone calls with people wondering if it was their family, because there wasn't when you post it, there's not enough time for family to be notified.
Yeah.
So just be mindful that we don't post anything like that at least 24 hours. That way families has already been notified. They know their family's safe. They don't see, oh, that might be my child's car or whatever. So just,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you, yeah, that was great.
I know that took a lot of time to do that.
Yeah.
I had a lot of help from behind me, so thank you all my technicians out there.
So just one more item for fire special election. So we do need to do a resolution tonight to appoint some inspectors, election inspectors, for the special election on June 23rd. Trustees has a resolution in front of them. So former Mayor Colopy and Seal have very graciously volunteered to be at very least 2 inspectors for the special village election on June 23rd.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Seal, you'll be serving as chair. I don't know what that means, but you'll be serving as chair.
I hope it gives me authority.
It most certainly does.
Okay.
You shall perform the duties of inspectors while the polls are open between 12 and 9 until all the votes are counted and the election results certified. We will be compensating each of you with $120, and we'll have you file a oath of office with Sarah prior to the special election. So, any questions on this resolution? It just came to me very last minute, so we had to put it together as a requirement.
Looks good to me.
Okay, does anyone want to put this resolution forward?
Put it forward.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mayor Doro?
Aye.
Trustee Murphy?
Aye.
Trustee Buckler? Aye. Trustee Mawson?
Aye.
And Trustee Burns?
Aye.
Great. Thanks, Tim and Seal.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch
Thank you, everybody.
with more details there. All right, moving along. Chief Dworkin.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, for the month of April, our officers responded to 290 calls for service. I'll give you an opportunity to review that. In addition to the 290 calls for service, the officers issued 18 parking summons, 22 uniform traffic tickets, and made 3 arrests.
Sounds like a heavy month.
It was busy, busier than usual, yeah.
And when you arrest someone, where do you hold them? Because I thought that was an issue in the past.
So it depends on what type of arrest it is. If it's a vehicle traffic arrest, they process them in the field if they can. Otherwise, they bring them back to headquarters and process them upstairs.
Right up here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any questions about anything else?
Have you seen a slowdown, people coming into the village since you guys have been more omnipresent?
The speeding issue hasn't really, we're not seeing much of a reduction in speed that's still there. It's probably because of the warmer weather. I think more people are out and active. We are focusing on 2 major locations in the village due to complaints that we've received. The officers are good, they go out and they keep an eye on everything. So they look at stop signs, people blowing stop signs and, the red light and, the biggest things they look for are, like the speed, stop signs, red light, seat belts, and devices, right? People on cell phones, because those distractions are what cause the accidents. So those are the most important ones that they look for. But then in addition to that, they get the equipment violations and other things.
How many of the cell phone tickets would you say monthly?
It's pretty low right now. One of the things we're coming across is more and more people are using tinted windows. And tinted windows are primarily illegal in New York State if you're above 35% light transmittance. So that's something that we're gonna start looking at as well. We don't have tint meters, but we're gonna purchase them so that the officers can try and, put a stop to that as much as possible. Because it's not just about, that's a violation of, it's also very unsafe for an officer to approach a car when they can't see inside. That's all I have for you folks.
That was nice and easy.
Just as an update from the board too, we had a good discussion the other day, Chief, especially about trucks. So we're gonna continue to kind of think about, focus on maybe invest in some, additional training down the road, trying to regulate the larger trucks.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's speeding, whether it's going over the line,
Swiping cars.
any other kind of issue that might arise. So we're gonna continue to kind of think about that.
Right. We will develop a plan to deal with that coming up in the next few months.
Great.
Especially the trucks are getting bigger now. Like mega truck, right? So there's no way they can't roll over the line. They have to.
In most
If they're
cases,
gonna
yeah,
be
especially by the bottleneck there, yeah.
Where, at the top.
Yeah.
It kind of narrows the road.
Is there any way of doing alternate street and parking up to that section? Because we've noticed with fire apparatus, I work for the town, we try to make trucks.
You gotta wait on people coming
Yeah,
down, and
you-
people
Yeah.
park on both sides, they
It's not
gotta
just
wait,
one day of the week, it's every single day.
I know,
Open
yeah.
the door in front of you.
I think parking is just such an issue
Yeah.
on Franklin that we can have
It's crazy.
we would be without a job, I think, if we changed the parking drastically.
And Merritt Avenue is already carrying its load.
Yeah. It's busy.
Yeah, it has been.
It's a 1-lane road.
It is, yeah.
We're continuing to think about maybe some traffic studies or some other kind of ideas.
There might be some help along the way with the Bennett Park.
Okay.
The Thorn Building, there's just a decent sized parking lot. I mean, that'll alleviate a little bit.
Constantly an ongoing conversation,
Yeah.
the traffic flow and
Right.
the,
Multi-year.
yeah, we always are trying to figure out.
The Bank of Milford does the most for the parking. They donate the most parking spots, everywhere.
It's cheap.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
you. You're me? Alright, little Public Works, little highway. Alright. Ethan and the boys worked hard this month. Daily brush pickup began April 1st and will continue through May 31st. They're averaging 5 to 10 loads of brush collected weekly. And a little reminder is you can't leave any of your brush on top of drains or check valves or water valves or anything like that. You gotta keep them off in an area where it's not affecting any of the utilities. Operations and maintenance is serviced and stored all winter snow removal equipment, began repainting no parking curbs throughout the village, mowed all village-owned properties, filled potholes throughout the village, and cleaned and organized the DPW garage area. Parks and Recreation installed 4 sets of windscreens at the tennis courts, constructed and installed a new community garden at Village Hall, which is out here if you guys want to check it out.
Just on that, real quick. Yeah, Ethan and the guys did a great job on that. It was a project that Jennifer Doro, my wife, helped to organize along with Millbrook Rotary. Every bed is filled, kind of taken right now for village residents that are either in apartments or don't have a yard. We also got all of the supplies, all the money donated. And I've been in contact with some local parents and some teachers at Elm, and they might be kind of doing some joint programs, planting radishes. The kids over at Elm kind of getting involved as well and helping out. So seeing some really positive feedback over there. And Ethan and the guys did a really nice
It's
job.
good for the kids to learn too. Have a
Yeah.
garden, and some people that don't have a yard. Community and environmental projects. Ethan and the boys assisted the Shade Tree Committee during Arbor Day activities. Planted trees at Alden Place Elementary and Elm Drive Elementary. Picked up trees for Tribs. Planting for New York State DEC headquarters in New Paltz for the Deneen Road planting project. Finalized coordination with Central Hudson for approvals related to the Hometown Hero banner program. And for planning and coordination, he met with Peckham Industries to review blacktop pricing, process road work, and oil and stone project for the upcoming fiscal year. Coordinated with Dutchess County Transportation Council to begin a development of village safety action plan.
Just on that one, I attended the most recent Dutchess County Mayors and Supervisors meeting, and this woman from the Dutchess County Transportation Council was there speaking. They're like part of Dutchess County government. I've talked with her before, but she's very, very knowledgeable. They all are over there, and they can help with
Traffic studies,
truck routes, pedestrian bike lanes, things like that. So Ethan's going to work with this young woman.
Also
to
help
think
with
about
grants and state
And-
funding.
and yeah.
Yes.
He's also doing something with her to qualify for federal funding as well for roads. So we'll see what comes out of that.
Awesome. And I think that's all for the highway department. Any questions? Tim, how are you?
Good, Patrick. Franklin Avenue, it's like an annual request. Can someone get up to DOT, ask them to come and patch some of the major problems we've got across from Friendly and over the hill by Children's Place?
So I don't know if you were at that meeting. A couple of months ago, Ethan met with.
And they had plans on going through town and patching out any of the potholes. We met with what's his name, Frank.
A couple different guys.
Yeah, Frank. I forget.
Yeah, we talked about, yep.
But we haven't. I think I met with him once with you.
Yeah, right,
I
yeah, okay.
believe.
That's the guy.
Yes, he was in. He went. Me and Ethan had a meeting with him, and he said he was going to beginning of this year, start of this year, which is
All right, well,
5 months
maybe
in,
no-
start
might
patching.
help.
But I think we got to stay on.
They need to do some drag box work. And
Yeah.
some major areas need to be repaired.
We weren't high on the list when we
Right.
spoke to him,
Yeah.
but they were gonna kind of try to move us up.
Okay, thanks.
So we'll chase.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
have you or the board considered maybe contacting the truck? We know there's at least the one truck company that comes through with the dry bulk trailers. Have you considered maybe contacting them and asking them either for a sit down or something, just discuss why they go this way, all that sort of thing?
Who's the company? You know?
I see.
Yeah, it's Wayne W. Cell Company.
And Gilmore Water. I see a lot of Gilmore Water.
Oh, really? Well, at 432 FedEx trailers go through, but Wayne W. Cell's the guy with the drive, and he pulled into Stewart's one night, and I said, oh, he said, yeah, I'm Wayne W. Cell, and I went, oh, nice to meet you. What are you hauling? And he said, well, we haul limestone. But I didn't go any further than that because he was only getting coffee and taking off again, but I'm sure you could probably call and say, hey, can we have a meeting and we're discussing the safety issues and all that?
That's a good idea.
What's that?
It's a good idea. We can look into that.
Discuss it with them.
Right.
Yeah, can't hurt to ask.
Maybe they can choose you for why.
And they can tell you the reasons why, and you know, maybe they.
Good idea. Thanks. We'll look into that.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you, Patrick.
Oh, thank you, everybody.
Scott.
Alright, we're on the water for April, all maintenance and sampling. Had the generator serviced, replaced 10 curb valves throughout town, flushed all the fire hydrants, and the stairs at the water plant for the generator are broken, but we're gonna have those repaired. It came out of the concrete.
When are we gonna do that?
Oh, what do you need, budget?
Sounds good.
What's that?
Next year's budget.
Yeah.
And at the sewer for April, all maintenance and sampling, we hauled sludge, started the aeration of the ORF, cleaned filter beds, which is ongoing, and we had a broken manhole on Velletri Way that we have dug up and replaced.
Are the sub pumps, they're still a big problem, right, in the village, sub pumps?
Yes.
I was talking to somebody in a different water department, and they were telling me that on a closing of every house when there's a sale, they have it inspected for sub pumps at the beginning of the sale. So that could be a future way. He sent me all the information on it too. It's something I could send to you, forward to you, and forward it to you, because on future sales, when there's a transition to ownership, you're allowed to have an inspection come in, and then that would help. I mean, I thought it was a great idea, so, yeah.
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
Send me that.
I'll send you that information that I have.
Oh, yeah, just-
It's somewhere down in like Westchester, a town that's doing this.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Food for thought.
Sure.
And just on the ORF, we're gonna work with FD to figure out a date in May,
Yeah.
hopefully, to,
Hopefully, at some point, we'll
We'll
talk.
figure that out.
Yeah.
That's it.
water or sewer questions?
Yep.
Yes, yes.
I got a comment.
What, Tim?
I just want to give a shout out to VRI and specifically Scott, for that broken manhole, all down with electric. Good communication, quick response, and once again, I just want hats off to VRI for the support. Thanks, Scott.
You're very welcome.
Scott, you're the best. We do have one resolution for the new wastewater treatment plant, which you also have in front of you. You may recall, we went out to bid on a big piece of the equipment for the new plant. We had one bidder, Aqua Aerobic Systems. I sent you all the information on, took a look at the letter.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Taken Bond has, knowledge of and a relationship with this vendor, and they're pretty happy with the work that they've done around the area and projects they've worked on together. So I'll just go through this quickly. This is resolution 2026-008. We determined it is in the best interest of the village to solicit separate bids for some of the equipment required in the construction of the new plant, and to lock in the price for that equipment to be included in the bid specs for the construction of the plant itself. We solicited bids for the sequencing batch reactors and polish and cloth media filters to be used in the construction of the plant. Tick & Bond prepared a bid eval. Only one company submitted a bid, Aqua Aerobic Systems Inc., for the bid amount of $1,070,600 for the sequencing batch reactors, and for $438,560 for the cloth media filters, which was open on April 17th. The bid evaluation provided by Ticket and Bond stated the bid from Aqua Aerobics was in conformance with the bid requirements, was reasonable, and that Aqua Aerobics was the lowest responsible and responsive bidder. They provided us with a proposed goods and services agreement to be entered into between the village and Aqua Aerobics. But at the terms, and this is important, but the terms of the agreement provide the village will not incur any costs until after the written notice to proceed is provided to the contractor on the plant. And we now wish to award the contract for the purchase of the sequencing batch reactors and the Clerk media filters to Aqua Aerobic in those amounts I mentioned, and authorizing myself to execute the goods and services agreement. We previously issued a negative declaration pursuant to seeker, and we are awarding the contract for those reactors and filters to Aqua Aerobics as the sole responsible and responsive bidder. Any questions? I will make the motion that we adopt this resolution. Do we have a second?
Mayor Doro?
Aye.
Trustee Murphy?
Aye.
Trustee Buckland?
Aye.
Trustee Mawson?
Aye.
And Trustee Briggs?
Moving along down there. Slowly but surely. Okay. I'm gonna forget you this time. Real quick.
All right. Just a reminder to try to get your invoices in so that we can
Yes, please.
close the year out. In a timely manner, appreciate it. All right, for building department, 7 building permits were issued, 1 certificate of use, 1 certificate of occupancy, 1 certificate of compliance, and a fire inspection that is not STR related. Total fees collected $2,135. And then, as you can see, planning board and zoning board were quite busy in April with several applicants before them. The next planning board meeting is on Monday, May 18th, and I believe everything is closed for zoning board with regards to that. So that's all I have for building. Any questions? So for the treasurer's side, I have the bank bids through the month of April submitted for your viewing pleasure. I don't have anything super notable for the regular accounts, and New York class is doing pretty well too, as you can see. And then, so as of now, I had sent all the documents to the county, and I just got word today that they're ready to be picked up, so I'll start processing that to be mailed out. Completed the constitutional tax limit and tax cap forms, which are just the warrant forms for the state that are required. Completed the bank recs through April, and then I did quite a bit helping with planning and zoning while Justin was out, and then also completed the report for the ARPA funds that we used towards the retaining wall. That's all I have for treasurer. If there's any questions.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, you're very welcome.
We did the special election business. Any comments from the public? What's the first? Seal.
Just, Chief, I saw congratulations that you got a grant. I don't know if I wrote on that.
Yes, we did.
Late on that, but on your
Thank you.
Facebook page. Congratulations. Is it for anything special? It said for training? Is that to help us meet standards?
It's partially for training, but also so we can meet some of the state standards for like security measures within a police department. That's the biggest part of it.
The biggest one?
Yeah.
All right, well, good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Seal. I forgot to ask, and congrats again.
Yeah, and are there any, I don't know, strings attached to that?
No. The credit all goes to Officer Alyssa Lissers, and she did all of the work on it.
Does she do all the grant applications?
She does all of our grants now,
Yes,
yes.
but I saw that.
Yeah, she's very good at it.
Good. I meet her. Congrats.
You guys know?
Hi, so I would like to talk about the planning board. I don't know if now's the time. Is now.
This is public comment, so
Okay, so I'll
the
try
floor is
to
yours.
really fast. I had hoped to have something written that didn't end up happening. What there's, before anything, kudos to the fire department, and what Kelly left off, which is incredible, is their commitment to community events, the parades, the Christmas windows, just all throughout the year, the dedication to community life beyond just what they do and putting themselves at risk and everything to keep us safe. I applaud. Okay, then we briefly discussed, it was discussed the parking thing. So currently before the board, and I've been going for the last few board meetings, I'm happy that the notices have been corrected, but particularly this last board, planning board meeting, the draft minutes were not even put up until the day of the public hearing, the day of the meeting, which meant that anybody that might be affected or any interested community member wouldn't have had access to that in order to participate in the public hearing, but for a few hours before. Upon reading those minutes, I realized that there were very significant errors in the minutes. And they were concerning, and I was dismayed at going to the meeting that they were approved. I brought it up to the board and for whatever effect that had. Currently in front of the planning board, there have been some very significant projects. And I don't have, ultimately, they don't seem like bad projects. They seem actually like they might be good projects and the balance of things. But they're very significant projects in that they don't conform to our zoning and they are being allowed to go through. So like one of them that's on Franklin Avenue is going to significantly affect the ability for a homeowner to enjoy their home. But that particular property currently has 24 parking spaces available. With their proposal, which has been segmented, which is not the best way or the way to really do this, they will need a minimum of 48. That does not even include the other business they got. So they've gone from 2 apartments that were upstairs as the old River Briggs are now going to have 6 apartments. And what was once a dirt floored garage with a tiny apartment above, which was I think 480 square feet, is now going to be 2 townhouses with 2 bedrooms each, where they're only providing 2 parking spaces for this. Now, that might not seem 24 to 48 plus because we don't know yet what's going to happen to what was previously the Slime and Salmon. This is significant because there are so many residential units going into this. And you have mandatory parking that happens in the winter months, when snow removal and that kind of thing. Where are all these vehicles going to go? Because it's a 1-bedroom doesn't necessarily mean it's 1 person and 1 vehicle. So, our parking is actually quite conservative. And these, at the very least, are significant impacts. Not only that, just their exit off of the property doesn't seem to comply, the driveway, with the necessary distance from the intersection. So you're going to have an increase onto Merritt already, which is a little dicey right there with the post office and other high-use area down there. And these are all significant things. And I don't know that there's really been the hard look because it's a popular project. And The applicant is somebody that's well known. But these are things that are going to affect significantly or have the traffic patterns and what's already happening in a village, which is dealing with parking already up here. And then obviously the use of the business where a significant portion of those parking spots are taken up with soil and other things during the spring months. Again, it's not necessarily, it's going to be tight. And during the course of the meeting, somebody from the audience said to the planning board chair, well, this is, I have the exact words, but it doesn't, it's the general thing of, well, this should be allowed, this conforms to zoning, and the planning board chair said, yes, it does. Well, it actually doesn't, because they're not providing enough parking. There's all sorts of issues with this. Doesn't mean it shouldn't go through, but I believe that our code, it's deserving of a hard look, and these things are going to keep coming before the board. And it's the same thing with down here with the Creel and Gow. Again, really beautification to the gateway of the community, but that's allowing an expansion of a non-conforming use in a residential neighborhood. That's setting up a precedent for any other applicant to use that and say, you allowed for an expansion of a non-conforming use, I should have the same thing. I think these things have to really be looked at. I feel like they just keep coming, and the fact that we don't even have proper agenda minutes out of these meetings is really concerning. At the end of the last meeting, the board member said, well, we were thinking you should be the person to take the minutes. And I said, that's not for me to do. And they said, well, we just don't have the funds, we don't have the support, we have somebody that's been out ill. I understand all that, but these are really significant issues that need to be addressed. The other thing about this applicant, down the street, is when you don't meet the parking requirements, there's a fund that you can pay into that's recommended, and they were actually excused from paying into this fund. Now, I don't know why, because there are no minutes for the meeting that they were excused from contributing to this. But these are things that I think if somebody is being allowed to maximize their profit on a property like this, I think it behooves us as a community to look at these things and see if we can't take advantage of this, so that as we continue further, maybe we can address some of these things like parking, because as somebody else said in here, most of the parking is now being provided to us by the tribute gardens in the bank of Millbrook, and that may not always be. So this is my long-winded of saying that we need, I think, to do better, to really look at this and start to take these planning things seriously. And I actually would love to see a moratorium and have us really take a look at our zoning and do some planning so that we have everything for the funds for the fire department, the funds for parking, our roadways that are now Merritt's crazy. Franklin Avenue at the top is nuts. I don't even know what's going to happen once the Thorne building goes in. And I just feel like, and not to mention that Hitchcock is for sale, the largest, I believe it's still the largest private property in the entire county right now, that could really change the face of life in the village. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'd also like to say thank you to the fire department. I've been a resident in the village now for 6 years, and I had no idea how hard you guys work. So thank you for educating us. My name is Jennifer Dundas. I live at 49 Maple, and I had a question for the board on Millbrook Listens project. The project is asking for the names, as many of you know, it's a ballot that we got in our mailbox or is available downtown. It's asking for the names of our household members, including minors, and our private stances on important village issues. And I wondered if the board could clarify for me and maybe others, who legally owns the raw identifiable data that's going to be collected on this? And do we have any guarantees that our personal information is not going to be shared with funding bodies like the Partners for Climate Action or the New World Foundation, which actually funds the Partners for Climate Action?
I think the gentleman.
I can
right here
speak to it.
probably
I've been leading the project. I was actually going to
And
announce
it's not,
it.
Jennifer, just real quick, it's not, there's nothing to do with the village board.
Okay, but the town of Washington and the village are on it, so that confused me.
Understood. Good. It's a good question.
So the Millbrook Library is the one who is collecting this data. They are what we're calling the nonprofit sponsor. There's only 3 people who would have eyes on this. It'd be me, myself, Courtney, and a volunteer who is not from the village of Millbrook. And that's just to analyze it. So the purpose of this is to make sure that that anybody over the age of 13 is able to talk about and engage in the community in a meaningful way. So this is just to get a sense of the ideas and the priorities of Millbrook. And that's really the purpose of it. It's not to share or really do anything outside of making sure that the people who are doing the vote are of the town and village of Millbrook.
Sure, thank you. So that data is not shared.
It is not shared.
It
does not go beyond the Millbrook Library. No, it is not. It is not.
Okay, and my other question is, how do we access data to support claims made on the ballot that, for example, a dog park or saving the gazebo have economic benefit? And the ballot also claims that a bus stop shelter promotes community resilience. What is community resilience, and where is the data to show that a bus stop promotes it? Where can we access these numbers?
I'm sorry. Well, I mean, there's not really any numbers. The premise or the project idea that was promoted is that it would give people the ability to access public transportation in all seasons of Millbrook. So there's no numbers really involved with why a project would fall under a certain category of community.
Okay, because you guys do have symbols up here like economic benefit,
yes,
community
yes,
resilience,
yes,
which
yes.
are then tracked by the topics, and I fail to understand how a gazebo or a dog park is going to promote economic benefit.
Well, economic benefit in terms of bringing people into the village of Millbrook, right? So it's like if we have a historic gazebo, right? So just to be clear, and just for anybody who hasn't really heard about the project, these are all ideas that people in the community had spoken about, right? And when they had proposed them, so we had asked, what is the benefit of this project? So people had wrote that, okay, well, if we have a historical gazebo, they would bring people, it'd be a community space for people to use and access. So that's, it was just kind of broad categories that it could offer them the benefit of that.
Just so you know, I'm probably the closest house to the gazebo. I'm a few yards away from it, or one of them. Several years ago, I think it was Wayne Lemke did a presentation for the school board on the gazebo and mentioned having concerts at the gazebo. No one from the Friends of the Gazebo group has ever come to any of us and said, we want to do concerts. This is what we want to do. So it'd be nice, for part of that listening to actually involve people who are going to be very affected by some of these issues and come and talk to us and sort of listen to what we have to say too.
Sure. Well, I mean, we started this project in September. Really, it was really for the community today, and we've been out as much as possible. So we weren't knocking on everybody's door, but we've been sharing through newsletters. I think it's impossible to catch everybody's ideas and how everybody is feeling, but these are, just to be clear, I don't know if you saw this website, but there was a way of how we had screened it, right? So there was 75 ideas across about 200 people who had sent in an idea, and we had screened them to a point where can it be accomplished at the community level? Is it already happening or not already happening? And if it was either too broad or just like unspecific. So that's how all these ideas were screened and got through, and that was that was what was left. Now again, the point of all this is really just to give us an idea of what people care about outside of the comprehensive plans, and understanding that there is funding available through a number of areas. But what's exciting for me, and I just want to share, is that so we've had over 400 people send in a vote, and out of those, 85% have signed up to engage in a volunteer group on this other side. So that shows that the community is interested in engaging more in the community, and maybe people don't know how to engage. So again, all this to say it's grassroots. But I think that people are hungry to learn more and be more involved in the community. And it's clear that a lot of this is actually resonating with a lot of people. I will say that gazebo is not in the top choices, so you don't have to worry about that.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And my very last question is, when these topics are decided upon, how then do you align with our democratically elected officials to put those into
Yeah,
play?
so for next steps on this, I am making a presentation to the Partners for Climate Action, and they are changing their name to the Understory. But there's a number of foundations I have been meeting with who are interested in kind of this grassroots listening campaign that kind of extend outside of this. And they are interested in making a few of the our top 3 possible. So the next steps is that we're going to be making sure and counting and scoring it all out and seeing what was the top choices. And then we're going to try to make an announcement in mid-June about what the top 3 were. And then what I'm trying to create right now is creating a team of consultants who could help these grassroots groups get started, either as smaller nonprofits or just helping people gather to create these groups and missions, right? So I'm not trying to leave people kind of floundering and not knowing how to gather and try to engage in these projects. The top 3, I'm hopeful that we're going to also create groups around these top 3 and to present them to bring in outside grant funding. So the more people we get to do the vote, the more grant money that we have available. And that's the purpose of this, right? It's not just to listen, but to also implement it as much as we can. But obviously a lot of these projects are multi-year, long-term. But it was the start of something that it was without there was no incentive. There was nothing, it was very open prompt about what you care about most in the community. And I think that was really special in the project. And I know I've been working very closely with the Partners for Climate Action, and they really have been just hearing what people are caring about most. And they are trying to empower people to create these grassroots ideas. And that's the premise of it.
Thank you, I appreciate
And
the information.
your question about the connection to the board. So Peter asked me to sort of be a part of the process. So I've been the board member. My name is Julia Buckland. I'm the board member that has been sort of the liaison with the project.
Okay.
So again, going forward, if you have questions, you're welcome to reach out to me.
Yes, I'm happy to also answer any more questions.
Thank you
Jennifer,
both.
to your point, thank you for raising those questions. I fielded similar kind of concerns and questions as well. Besides an initial letter of support to apply for this grant, the village has had no official involvement. Trustee Buckland has kind of sat in as a liaison. But the village is not involved in this whatsoever. Going forward, I'm not sure what our involvement will be, if at all. But your questions are good, and I think at this point, they would be better fielded towards Chris, towards that group than us, because we just I don't have those answers.
Okay.
They're good questions.
Thank you, Mayor.
So thank you. Any other public comments? Tim?
The special election, that's on the primary day. So
Right.
it'll be at the same place
It's gonna
as
be
the primary?
here.
It'll be
Special
here.
election's gonna be here.
Oh, well,
Oh, okay. So, and when's the wording gonna be out, to say specifically what's gonna be on the referendum?
We have to put it out 10 days before, but it's basically, it's gonna be 2 questions. You know, do voters want to enact games of chance? And the second question, do voters want to enact bingo?
Okay, so it's not gonna be the legal wording that will go into the, I assume, local law. It'll just be a yes, no.
It'll be a yes, no answer.
Okay. And that information will be posted on the village website or?
We'll have to make an official, I think it goes, I don't know if it goes in the paper or not, but there's an official deadline that we have to submit, and I'll certainly send it to you. with plenty
Okay,
of
good.
time.
And I assume you'll publicize it so that people in the village know
Correct.
to come out to this special location? Okay. All right, thank you.
Susan, I wanted to ask you earlier, just from a town board perspective, any questions or comments at this point? Hi. Any other public comments? Jeff?
Peter, or Mayor, just want to thank the board for approving the VFW's public assembly permit to host an annual Memorial Day parade, Monday, May 25th at 11 a.m. We have 11-piece marching band and lead the parade. We have several military vehicles in the parade, including the warrior wagon being pulled by horses. We have a flyover scheduled from Army Airport PT-26 aircraft, so don't be alarmed. You see a plane fly over Millbrook at low passing, you're gonna fly over a couple times. The high school band will be set up in the park to perform for the ceremony. Our keynote speaker is retired Navy Captain Steve Massey. So that's just pray for nice weather that day, and hope it comes out and supports us.
Will there be a rain, will it be at the high school if it does
We're
rain?
gonna be at the firehouse.
Okay.
If it's rains.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
You're welcome. Hope to see you there.
There's no other public comment, we will move to
Let's coordinate member updates.
trustee updates.
This is from Mike Herzog.
Yes, please.
The announcements here are just of the CSC activities, basically I'm sharing. So, Earth Day festivities at the town pool, Mike Herzog and Sharon Man's booth at the town park and pool on April 19th. The theme of the display for discussion was, where does your water come from? And NRI Water Sources map illustrated our available water as residents located their homes and traced their water source. Zoom meeting with Scott Kleinberg, Peter Doro, and Mike Herzog. A Zoom meeting was attended by the above members on May 6th. They discussed climate smart resiliency pledge elements on the village we participated in for 2026 with Cornell Cooperative Extension. And there will be a workshop entitled Save Energy, Save Dollars at the Village Library on May 21st from 4 to 5 p.m. and everyone is welcome.
Thank you.
I will probably enlist one or both of you to assist with this. I already forgot what Trustee Wilson said. But whatever.
May 21st?
No, the resiliency call that I was on with Cornell recently. Something that we've done
right, okay.
periodically, every couple of years. Hoping I can get someone to raise their hand for that at some point when the time comes.
Yeah, well, the resiliency stuff is important, right? I mean,
Yeah, it
it's-
is.
it's- Yeah, I mean, it's, there are all of these layers, right,
Yeah.
that we have to. So the Shade Tree Committee, as you heard from, Trustee Murphy, has been busy. Arbor Day, we did plant 2 trees and it was great. The little kids came out with, Dennis has these little shovels and they planted the tree. And we can get some pictures for the village website. Sarah, as far as you know, we don't have those pictures haven't been sent to you guys. You and Nicole?
I'm not sure.
That's right, I'll double check.
Put a few
Anyway,
in
there's
my,
some,
I put a
there's,
few in my newsletter as well. but
Okay.
I saw a bunch.
yeah, good, okay.
We can put them on like your page,
Yep.
I think.
Yep.
which
And
makes
then
sense.
you mentioned the Deneen Road project, so we planted, 30 trees and shrubs down by Deneen Road, with beaver-proof, sort of wraps around most of them.
One beaver already took one down.
Stop.
Yeah, well, not the ones she planted, but the ones that were planted a few years ago. The sucker's like this far above the ground, and you just gnawed it right off at like the most inconvenient.
But there's not a lot we can do about the yeah, anyway, so that, yeah.
I was like, you
It's
wrapped
probably,
them, right? And
yeah.
she's like, yeah, I did. I'm like, good, because they'd be gone.
Yeah, they would be. I
Part of
know,
the
at
challenge.
one point I was like, I saw the pictures and I was like, great, so we're just creating fodder
For the dam.
for the dam. So anyway, that was, that happened. Also in Shade Tree Committee news, we have contacted two homeowners, well, actually more than two homeowners, the two homeowners have been in touch about having trees planted, replanted, and so we'll be meeting tomorrow, talking about that, and then moving that forward with Ethan, and also talking to Ethan about other locations in the village where he feels that perhaps tree planting would be appropriate. Okay.
And the plantings went well too.
Yeah, it was great. So it was a beautiful day. Dennis does such a great job. He's so funny. He was like, "This is my favorite day of the year." And
Nice.
the kids was like,
Cute.
"It's Arbor Day." You know, I mean, he really plays it up, and he does a beautiful, beautiful job. We're lucky to have him.
Good work, Tim.
And
Yeah.
the pics were nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Trustees?
I mean, mine was on Empress and that thunder was stolen before, so.
Not stolen.
I'll try to keep it.
You're upstage.
And all these numbers, I don't know.
I was part of the feasibility plan for the town of Washington recreation facilities and what we're gonna do with the town pool. Essentially, we have a committee, and we have a huge packet with a lot of surveys in it, and it's gonna be presented to the town board tomorrow. And if you guys wanna show up, I'll leave this with the village, but it's got a lot of ideas for the town of what we can do with it. Unfortunately, money is the issue with everything, but we gotta get grants and stuff like this. But this is basically action set forth with this committee to what people want the most within the community, to like what we could do to get money and finance the park. But I've done a lot with parks lately.
It's good.
No.
So Patrick, interestingly, the Millbrook Listens, one of the top, I think the top, vote getting item from that ballot is a pool, and not just a pool, but like an all season.
That's
Recreation.
one of the things that we're going over, whether is that pool
Oh,
feasible of like us spending a ton of money to put into it, or is it worth demoing that pool and doing a like year-round pool or something that's a little easier to maintain
Right.
without the currents of water going through it,
Right,
you know?
right.
Because it's a freshwater system
Right.
and it's hard to chlorinate that and keep it proper.
And so at some point, I'd be happy to talk to you more about that, so
Yeah, of course.
there's a pool facility that I am familiar with, that, where they did fundraising, and it's a very modest facility, and yet it's a fabulous facility, like it's basically, yeah.
I
Anyway, we
encourage
could
you
talk
to
more
go
about
to
that.
the town board because they will be presenting this. It kind of already has a lot of information and
Yeah.
surveys already taken
And so
from
tomorrow,
previous.
that's at the
This will be at
board,
the town.
The town watch.
Yes.
yeah,
who's
but what, at
presenting,
6
Mike?
o'clock?
6?
I would imagine it's Mike. Oh,
It's
I'm not
6.
sure. It was
Six.
his. This was
Six.
his.
Yeah.
This was his part
Mike.
of it. Murphy
Oh, right,
and Robert. Rob Audia.
okay.
And I said, the town pool is it certainly could be a really amazing facility. There's
Yeah.
so much potential there.
Yep.
Um,
And draw people from all around, because there is nowhere.
And what can make it distinct? So, like for example, you're competing against Bennett Park. You're competing against the tribute gardens, you know, how can you get people to draw up there? What can you do differently to get more people in there and spending money and using these facilities, you know?
Well, I know a lot of
So-
clients that wanna go to an indoor pool,
Yeah.
so if they can,
Well,
if they pay a
because
fee
the
for a
training
membership-
center was very, very successful until it wasn't.
The problem with an indoor pool is the cost of
Right.
what that would, I
No,
mean,
agreed,
the
but people,
amount,
you know, people,
yeah.
it is not, I mean, people do it,
Mhm.
right? I mean, there's a pool at Bard, unfortunately, the
There's
pool
a
at
one in
Maple
Marist.
Brooks. Yeah, Maplebrook School had one,
Mhm.
and then they did a big renovation on that, cause I was swimming over there, they opened that to the public for a hot second before COVID. And they charged $30 a month
Right.
membership, and then somebody did a renovation or something, and they broke something, and so now that pool is not sealed. But again, so the point is, it is possible,
Totally. You get an extensive
but,
amounts of
and,
money.
and you can charge, I mean, there are swim teams.
Well,
that
we're
would-
charging now, and that's part
Yeah.
of the problem, is it's not enough.
Right.
When you
Right.
have a class of graduating students that's 60 high in Millbrook, you
Yeah.
know, that's not enough.
Lower.
That's not, you need to pull
Right.
people from outside
Right, but
communities.
Arlington High School swim teams would come out here and
Maybe,
swim.
And, you
Unless
know,
they
I
have
have,
other
I have
facilities.
clients,
Well,
they're
they're
constantly.
going, they're already going into the Gypsies,
Yeah.
they swim in the Jewish
I have
Community
clients
Center.
that go over to Marist and do it,
Mhm.
and if you put that pool in, I know 10 people right off the bat that would be going and doing a membership, and they have no problem doing an annual membership, you
Yep.
know?
You know, I think the demand, I think the demand is there.
Well, I
Again, it
encourage you to
is,
go and voice your opinion
Yeah.
on this, because the survey was done and everything like that, and the problem is, it's coming up with the money to do it, you know? 'Cause
Yeah.
the town's strapped too.
right,
So-
no, and it shouldn't, I think it can, you know,
If you can,
if we can get, as you said,
Grants.
grants and we can get private
Mhm.
donors, that's what happened into the pool that I'm familiar with, is somebody, you know, made a big
Mhm.
donation. And there is a way that I think we can certainly at least pursue some of those avenues and
Yeah.
say, you know, this would be a massive, massive legacy to this community if we could get, you know, a nice facility. And, you know, and it's,
donation.
you've got
Big
the,
fundraiser.
there you have the parking, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you do have to park.
And this is for not just the pool though, it's for the entire facility, so it's your
What else are they
ballparks,
looking,
you
ballparks,
got everything.
okay, yeah.
Whatever, you know, whatever's gonna draw the most crowd and people to get into the park, and spending their money and using it.
Town of Stanford just rebuilt their playground at their
Spark Park.
town rec. Totally zero taxpayer dollars.
Wow.
All crowd-funded, local labor,
Yeah.
volunteer.
Yeah.
I mean, Dom's been there. I mean, it's amazing. Kids love it.
Yeah.
And it was all done through just community groups. They did an amazing job. I was talking to the town supervisor of Stanford the other day about it, and she was very instrumental in leading that effort. So it's someone we can definitely kind of speak to down the road.
There was a lot of people on this committee, and I'd just like to shout them out and thank them for
Yeah.
their hard work and time. They know who they are, but there's 10 of them. I'm set, I think.
Couple updates for me. I received a text from Curtis down at the jewelry store. He's going to be heading up the Community Day effort this year. Maybe Shannon or Julia could be the village board liaison to assist Community Day. Maybe Shannon. She is a
I'll help.
local small business.
I'll help.
Okay.
But they're going to be kind of planning that out starting.
So
relatively
I'll be
soon.
your second, if you can't
Okay.
get to a meeting or
That'd be
something,
great.
and
That'd be good.
I don't know when
Sometimes they
when the
work a
date
little
is yet.
late.
yeah,
I think there's a
no,
date
that's,
set.
and I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
What, is it usually the first Saturday second Saturday in September? It's not Labor Day, but it's
So,
usually.
like,
the
I
weekend
think it could be a
after.
little later, I was talking to Curtis.
Okay, a
But
little bit
September,
later in
definitely
September,
September,
okay.
not,
Yeah.
October was too busy.
And the village submitted our MIG grant today to Dutchess County. Trustee Mawson and I have been meeting weekly to submit this grant, basically focused on town and village hall upgrades. So we submitted the grant today to upgrade the lighting in the village hall to LEDs, upgrade the lighting in the gym to LEDs, replace the second floor windows. We replaced the first floor windows couple of years back with double pane windows. We added second floor windows to this grant. And then all of the village-owned and/or operated lighting within the village, the street lamps, upgrade those to LEDs as well.
That'd be fantastic.
So we'll hopefully get some good feedback on that.
Also helps with the election.
Fingers
Yeah.
crossed, yeah.
Exactly. And we have some other ideas to fund that if that doesn't work out, which we'll discuss shortly. Is there anything else? We are gonna have an executive session today to discuss some issues. Any other questions or comments? Thank you all for coming and
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it, everybody.
Good night.
Enjoy dinner.
I'll make a motion at the end of the session.